The rain was coming down in sheets as I stared out the window of my apartment in Seattle. I am Kester, and up until a few weeks ago I thought I had it all. A good job as a software architect, a decent place, and a wife, Madalna, whom I loved more than anything. We'd been married for 7 years, a good run. Or so I thought. It all started subtly. Madalna, who worked as a marketing manager for a tech company downtown, started coming home later. Big project, she'd say, kissing me on the cheek before heading straight for the shower. I didn't think much of it, work gets busy. But then came the weekend she had to catch up at the office, and the hushed phone calls she'd take outside claiming it was a bad signal inside. I am not a jealous man by nature. I trusted Madalna implicitly, but a nagging feeling started to creep in, a cold knot in my stomach that wouldn't go away. I started paying closer attention. I noticed the way she'd flinch when I touched her, the way her eyes wouldn't quite meet mine. It was like she was a different person, a stranger wearing my wife's face. One evening she told me she had a conference in Portland. Just for 2 days, she said, packing a small suitcase. "I'll be back Friday night." I kissed her goodbye, the knot in my stomach tightening. Something felt terribly wrong. That night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, my mind racing. I told myself I was being paranoid, that Madalna would never do anything to hurt me, but the feeling persisted. Finally, around 3 a.m., I gave up. I got out of bed and went to the living room. I decided to watch some TV, anything to distract me from my thoughts. As I was channel surfing, I remembered Madalna had left her laptop on the coffee table. Probably should plug it in, I thought. I picked it up and opened it, intending to plug it in before she ran out of battery. It was logged in. I hesitated. I knew I shouldn't, but curiosity, or maybe it was desperation, got the better of me. I clicked on her email icon. The inbox opened, revealing a recent email from someone named Rafferty. My heart skipped a beat. I clicked on it. The email was short, just a few lines. "Can't wait to see you in Portland. Room 308. XOXO. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My breath caught in my throat. I read the email again and again, each time feeling the blood drain from my face. It couldn't be true. Madalna wouldn't do this. But the email was right there, staring me in the face, undeniable. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I closed the laptop, my hands shaking. I needed to confirm it, to be absolutely sure. I couldn't confront her without proof. So I made a decision, a terrible, desperate decision. I called in sick to work the next day. I told my boss, Eloy, I had a bad flu. He was understanding, told me to take care of myself. Then I booked a flight to Portland. The flight was a blur. I sat by the window staring out at the clouds, my mind numb. I kept replaying the email in my head, trying to make sense of it. How could Madalna do this? Why? I arrived in Portland in the early afternoon. I took a taxi to the hotel Madalna had mentioned in passing once, a place called the Grandview. I walked into the lobby, trying to appear casual, my heart pounding in my chest. "Can I help you, sir?" the receptionist asked, smiling politely. "Yes," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm supposed to meet someone here. Could you tell me if a Madalna Abner is checked in?" I gave a fake last name, one I knew she sometimes used for reservations to avoid spam. The receptionist tapped on the keyboard. "Yes, Mr. Abner. Room 308, room 308. The same room number from the email." My blood ran cold. I thanked the receptionist and walked away, my legs feeling like lead. I found the stairwell and climbed to the third floor. I stood outside room 308, my hand hovering over the door. I could hear muffled voices inside and a soft, rhythmic sound. My stomach churned. I took a deep breath and knocked. The voices stopped. After a moment, the door opened. Madalna stood there, her eyes wide with shock. She was wearing a silk robe, her hair disheveled. Behind her, I saw a man sitting on the bed, shirtless, his face a mask of surprise. It was Rafferty, the name from the email. The world seemed to stop. I stared at Madalna, my heart shattering into a million pieces. What is this?" I managed to stammer, my voice barely a whisper. Madalna's face crumpled. "Kester, I can explain." "Explain," I repeated, my voice rising. "Explain what?" "Explain why you're in a hotel room with another man. Explain why you lied to me." Tears streamed down her face. "It's not what you think," she said, her voice trembling. "Oh, really? Then what is it, Madalna? A business meeting? A friendly chat?" I could feel the anger rising inside me, a burning rage that threatened to consume me. Rafferty stood up, pulling on his shirt. He was tall and muscular with a smug look on his face. "Look, buddy," he said, "this is between Madalena and me. You should just leave." I turned to him, my eyes narrowed. "You stay out of this," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "This is between my wife and me." I turned back to Madalena, my heart aching. "How could you do this?" I asked, my voice filled with pain. "How could you betray me like this?" She sobbed, her body shaking. "I don't know," she said. "I'm so sorry, Kester, I never meant to hurt you." "But you did," I said, my voice flat. "You broke my heart, Madalena. You destroyed everything we had." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there in the doorway, her tears falling like rain. I walked out of the hotel, out into the pouring rain, and kept walking, not knowing where I was going, just wanting to escape the pain. I spent the next few days in a daze. I checked into a cheap motel near the airport, unable to face going back to our apartment. I barely ate, barely slept. I just sat there, staring at the walls, replaying the scene in the hotel room over and over in my head. The anger was still there, but it was mixed with a deep, profound sadness. I couldn't believe that the woman I loved, the woman I had built a life with, could do something so cruel. Finally, I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just sit there and wallow in my misery. I needed to take action to reclaim my life. I called a lawyer at work and told him I was quitting. I couldn't face going back to the office knowing that everyone would know what had happened. He tried to talk me out of it, but I was adamant. I needed a fresh start, a clean break. Then I called a lawyer. I told him I wanted a divorce. He said he would handle everything, that I didn't need to worry about anything. Next, I went back to our apartment. I packed a suitcase with my clothes and personal belongings. I left everything else behind, everything that reminded me of Madalena. As I was leaving, I saw a photo of us on the mantelpiece. It was taken on our wedding day, 7 years ago. We were smiling, happy, full of hope for the future. I picked it up and stared at it for a long moment, my heart aching. Then I put it down and walked out the door, closing the chapter on that part of my life. I moved into a small apartment in a different part of the city. It was nothing fancy, but it was clean and quiet. It was a place where I could start over, where I could rebuild my life. The divorce was finalized a few months later. Madalena didn't contest it. She knew she was in the wrong. I didn't ask for anything, just wanted to be done with it. I started seeing a therapist to deal with the emotional fallout of the betrayal. It was hard, but it helped. I learned to forgive myself for trusting Madalena, for not seeing the signs. I learned to let go of the anger and resentment. I also started exploring new interests. I took a pottery class, joined a hiking club, and started volunteering at a local animal shelter. I met new people, made new friends. I discovered that there was life after Madalena, that I could be happy again. One day I was at the animal shelter walking dogs when I met a woman named Amari. She was also a volunteer, and we struck up a conversation. We talked about our love of animals, our hopes and dreams. We laughed, we shared stories. I found myself drawn to Amari. She was kind, compassionate, and funny. She had a warmth and a light that drew me in. We started spending more time together, going for coffee, going to movies. I was hesitant at first, afraid to open my heart again after what had happened with Madalena. But Amari was patient and understanding. She didn't push me, didn't pressure me. She just let me be myself. Slowly, I started to fall in love with her. It was different from what I had with Madalena. It was deeper, more genuine. It was a love based on trust and respect, not on lies and betrayal. One evening, as we were walking along the beach, I turned to Amari and said, "I think I'm falling in love with you." She smiled, her eyes sparkling in the moonlight. "I think I'm falling in love with you too, Kester," she said. I leaned in and kissed her. It was a long, tender kiss filled with emotion. It was a kiss that sealed our fate, that bound us together. I knew that I had found something special with Amari, something real and lasting. I knew that I had a second chance at happiness, a chance to build a new life, a life filled with love and trust. Looking back, I realized that what happened with Madalena was a painful chapter in my life, but it was also a learning experience. It taught me the importance of trust, the fragility of relationships, and the resilience of the human spirit. It taught me that even after the darkest of times, there is always hope for a brighter future. And it led me to Amari, the woman who showed me that love is still possible, even after betrayal.